Features that can save energy every day, save money every month. Inspected and certified by Ohio Edison to save energy and save money. Proven by families like these who bought Good Sense homes. For a list of Good Sense home builders, call this number. Find out what comfort and energy efficiency are all about.
Right now, Tri-City Nissan is having a truckload sale. We have new 93.5 pickups for just $75.95. That's right, pick up a new pickup for just $75.95 at Tri-City Nissan. Hurry, these won't last long.
Akron City Council votes on nudity and convenience store security tonight.
Welcome back to our coverage of the final presidential debate. You heard us, did we, Ross Perot there, make another reference this evening to the town hall meetings he's always said would be important to the governing process. And he said tonight, he, in reference to the press, worried about us losing our right to tell the people what to think. Well, if you've watched us in the past on these debates, you know that from time to time we've had a focus group with us from various places in the country, from Charlotte, North Carolina, from New York, and from California. And they've been saying all along that they were waiting for the debates to finally make up their minds. So we're going to put them to the test tonight, or we're going to start here in New York there with Beverly Ben, who's a corporate communications manager. Beverly, you've always said you were waiting for the debates to make up your mind. Have you, and what is it?
Yes, I have made up my mind, Peter. The issues that are important to me are education and the economy and health care, also the future composition of the Supreme Court, and sort of a more intangible issue of ethnic and religious tolerance. And after the debates on all of these things, I feel more comfortable with the programs and the policies that Bill Clinton has laid out.
Okay, so you're no longer an undecided voter?
No.
Okay, Bill Clinton for Beverly Ben. Let's go to your partner on the left there, John Donovan, who's a retired automaker, auto worker, I should say, John. I'll tell you in a minute after you tell me what your answer is, what my suspicions were all along.
Okay, Peter, I have decided that I will vote for Ross Perot. The reason I say that is that President Bush just hasn't gotten his message out. He's just finally starting to get it out. And that Governor Clinton, I just couldn't go with the Vietnam War protests. I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about it.
Okay, as if just so people don't remember, John's a Korean vet. John, I thought at the beginning you were drifting towards Bush all the time. Did he lose you somewhere along the way, did he?
Yeah, he lost me when he came out with that thing about a 1% tax reduction. Someone in my circumstances, we're talking about maybe $100 a year. We're talking $2 a week. But someone who's making a lot of money, he's still going to get the same percentage reduction, but a lot more money.
Okay, thanks very much, John. Let's move down to Charlotte, North Carolina now, where Tom Aston is sitting by. Tom's a retired banker. You made up your mind, Tom?
I think I have, Peter.
Let's have it.
Well, I wouldn't give any of them my golden retriever's blue ribbon, but Bill Clinton made up my mind for me tonight. I think I'm going to have to go with George Bush.
What did Bill Clinton do tonight to make up your mind?
Well, the same thing he's done the other two times. I've got a feeling about the man. I'm right with the ones who think of him as Slick Willie. He and Gore, too, and I just don't... They're tax and spend liberal Democrats going back to a tax and spend liberal Congress, and they're going to take it all away from us, including my Confederate money.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much. Let's go out to California now, where Tom Hoey is standing by. Tom is an electronic technician, and Tom, have you made up your mind?
Well, yes, Peter, I have. I think the reason I had such a difficult time this year was because that I like a part of each of the candidates. I wish I could just chop them up and make a whole new one, but that not being the case, I have decided that the person that is best for this country in the next 4 years to lead it in the proper direction is Bill Clinton.
Okay, Tom, thank you very much, and thanks to the rest of you in the focus group all across the country who've been with us off and on now for several weeks. One for Clinton, one for Bush, one for Perot, two for Clinton, one for Bush, and one for Perot. Let's go back to Jeff Greenfield, who's out there in Michigan. Jeff, what was the reaction of in Washington, rather? What was the reaction, as best you could tell tonight, of the professionals who watch this kind of thing?
I'm thinking of, after hearing Perot, of reasserting an amateur status. I mean, we're the bad guys again.
What do you mean again?
Yes, that's true. I think what did impress me was that the president, who really did seem detached the other night in Richmond, was much more focused. I mean, when Bill Clinton said, "I want to change America," the president came back and said, that's what worries me. He was more willing to even rough up the rules of the debate somewhat to make his points. And while I think that it was a little bit obvious that his line about there's a pattern here was kind of coached and rehearsed, he just was more animated. And whether or not that's going to make much of a difference with 2 weeks left, I have doubts about. But my guess is you're going to hear people say, well, at least this time the president was up to it, stepped up to the plate, to use one of those horrid sports metaphors, and really got into it for the first time.
Did you, including that spontaneity you found from the president, did you think they all sounded pretty much like their old selves tonight?
Well, there was certainly a lot of that. I mean, Bill Clinton's courage to change is about as familiar as a widely paid-for advertisement. Ross Perot actually was a little more serious tonight, I think, than he was in the past. It was a little bit less reliance on clever one-liners, although they were there. But I'm just wondering whether or not what happened tonight was enough of a shaker-upper to change an election 15 days out.
I must confess that Ross Perot at the end tonight, and let me bring in Cokie Roberts here now, sounded a little bit, Cokie, as if he doesn't really think he has impact on these debates, because at the end there he was again advertising NBC, CBS, and ABC with his special program.
Well, he does take advantage of his time to do that, and he is right that a remarkable number of people are watching what are not exactly scintillating entertainment programs. But I do think that it was interesting listening to our focus group people, because what they really have told us is that what we've said all along, that these debates confirm the way people are leaning anyway. I mean, talking about the Supreme Court, we didn't talk about that once in these debates, and yet that was that woman's concern, and she knows from something outside of the debate where Bill Clinton stands on that. I do think probably what did happen was more of a sense of people feeling that they could legitimately vote for Perot, as we saw with Mr. Donovan, and Perot actually making that appeal at the end tonight. But I'm not sure that it shook up much between Democrats and Republicans.
Okay, Cokie, thanks very much. In a minute, we'll come back and talk to the three individuals who cover the individual campaigns, and we'll ask some of the questions about Congress of Cokie and also of Jim Wooten that have been raised tonight. A lot of talk about the presidency. Not much talk yet about what kind of a Congress a new president might get. We'll be back in a moment.
From director Robert Redford comes the classic story of an American family. A River Runs Through It is a masterpiece, as beautiful and moving a film as you are likely to see this year. Clearly an Oscar contender. It takes your breath away. 4 stars, a 10, a triumph for director Robert Redford. This is one of the best films of the year, destined to become a classic. A River Runs Through It, rated PG. At theaters now, starts Friday at additional theaters.
2 high-nutrition cereals.
Kellogg's Just Right.
So what makes one top the other?
Kellogg's Just Right has 100% of 12 vitamins and minerals. So do we. Kellogg's Just Right also has 4 hearty grains, sweet dates, crunchy almonds, juicy raisins.
Well, Total has none of those things.
So it's no surprise, 4 out of 5 people prefer Just Right.
I feel like just disappearing.
Thought you'd never ask.
Kellogg's Just Right. The taste makes it just better.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery. Fire from beneath the mountains of Colombia gave the land its richness. And the land gave the richness to the coffee. That's why Maxwell House blends its coffees with Colombian beans. Rich beans, rich coffee. Some are slow roasted for old-fashioned richness. Some are roasted for rich French flavor. Maxwell House uses more Colombian beans than anyone in America. The coffees of Maxwell House, blended with Colombian beans. Because better beans make better coffee.
In the AFC Central, nothing comes easy. The Cincinnati Bengals roar into Pittsburgh to battle the Steelers. Live on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Tomorrow, Marilyn Quayle. How demanding is her role beside the candidate? Also, what senior citizens are saying after the final debate.
Plus, Masters of Magic, Siegfried and Roy, Ringo Starr, and country's George Strait on Good Morning America tomorrow.
Sometimes you almost think, and we may all think of ourselves, that we're obsessed with polls, but we poll a lot. We polled again this evening. I haven't seen it either, so let's put it up on the screen and we'll see what the people we polled through tonight think. They think Clinton's the winner with 39%, Perot 25%, Bush 19%, and 11% of the people we polled throughout the evening have 11%. So let's move on very quickly then to the people who cover the candidates and ask very quickly. First of all, you, Britt Hume, you cover President Bush. Do you think anything said or done here tonight that makes an appreciable difference to the president? And I confess you don't have much time.
Well, Peter, I don't know that this will make an appreciable difference, although it was much the most spirited and aggressive performance he's had in the debate so far. What struck me about it, perhaps more than anything, was, for example, on the Iraq-gate matter, he made a strong, I thought, strongly worded defense of his policy, his action towards Saddam Hussein. He made it here in this format, but the problem with it, it struck me, was that for all the attacks and all of the front-page news stories about that, this was the first time we'd ever heard that, and it is a measure of how this campaign is going.
And in fact, thanks, Britt, there may be some pressure now that Mr. Perot started tonight to find out what the written instructions were to Ambassador Glaspie. Chris Fury, you cover the Clinton campaign. Any appreciable difference being made to your candidate by tonight, do you think?
I don't think so, Peter. President Bush was fairly effective in trying to get Clinton down on the issue of having it both ways. But Clinton was lucky he had Ross Perot come rushing to his defense. Perot did a lot of heavy lifting for Clinton tonight, so I think it probably was a wash.
Thanks very much, Chris. Let's move over to Mort Dean, who covers Ross Perot's campaign. You see any change in your man's standing at this point, given tonight?
Well, I don't see any change, Peter, except that his favorability rating went up rather dramatically during the past two debates. It more than doubled, and I think you'll probably see it go up again. Whether that translates into votes in November, who knows? Okay, thanks very much, all three of you. Want to turn now finally to our political director, Hal Bruno, who watches it as closely as anybody in the country. And Hal, ask you two questions. A lot of talk about the Congress. Do you have any sense of what kind of a Congress whomever is the new president is going to face? And we're preoccupied with the national poll. What does it look on the state-by-state electoral basis?
Okay, first of all, on the Congress, it's going to be a very different Congress, maybe slightly more Republican, but nevertheless a Democratic Congress. But it's going to have a lot of new faces in it. And the president is going to have a Congress that still doesn't know its way around. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the new president, whoever it may be, works with this Congress.
Okay, and this question of what does it look like out there on the ground?
Peter, as far as the state-by-state goes, right now Clinton is ahead in 31 states with something like 368 electoral votes. The president is ahead in about 11 states with 74. And there's 9 states with 96 electoral votes that are even. So clearly, when it comes to the all-important electoral vote, Bill Clinton has the big lead. And that's what President Bush has to turn around in the next 2 weeks. And as he's got to turn it around state by state. He's got to hold the states he has. He has to get the even states. And most of all, he has to go for a dozen states where Clinton is ahead but are still competitive. And that's a tall order, and he's got 2 weeks and a day to do it in.
Well, I was going to say how tall. Look back over the history of elections, and I realize this is something of an oddball year with Mr. Perot in it as well. But there have been third-party candidates before. What's the history? How much changes in the last 2 weeks?
Not too much change in the last 2 weeks. It's stayed pretty static. Third parties don't do very well historically in American elections. Mr. Perot may be different, but we don't see a state where Mr. Perot is leading. What he is doing is he's hurting the president in Florida and Texas, where it hurts the most.
Okay, thanks very much, Hal Bruno and everybody else. A little later on Nightline, Jeff Greenfield doing Nightline out of Washington this evening. Going to start to ask the questions where these candidates will take us in the future in a more specific way, trying to respond to that audience concern. Also, Bill Moyers and William Buckley will be the guests on Nightline, talking from their respective political points of view. Then ABC News overnight, and of course, and check your local newspaper and Good Morning America tomorrow to check on the facts. Some of them were not altogether right on the money this evening when it came to some of the facts and figures of the economy and the state of the country, but you can check on that a little more carefully tomorrow. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm Peter Jennings in New York. Good night.
This has been ABC News coverage of the 92 vote, the final presidential debate. To order a video cassette of ABC News highlights of all the debates, use MasterCard or Visa and call 1-800-ABC-7500. The cost is $19.95 plus $3.95 shipping and handling.